I am Ray, and what if you stop trying to make it all happen? You see, because we place all of these unnecessary burdens upon ourselves, and it's like carrying a big bag of rocks on our shoulders. And then we think, oh, why am I so tired all the time? Why am I so exhausted? Why am I depressed? Why does life suck? Well, now you know. You got rocks. Because think about it. If you're just this little human and the universe is no big, well then you having to figure it all out, well that's a big task. Can you do it? I don't think anybody can do it. I mean, think about it. There's like billions, if not more, variables every day. Things to think about, things to do. And well, you're not a supercomputer. You do not have Neuralink. So what are you doing? Why are you trying to figure it all out? Did you know that you don't have to? You don't have to. What if you just said, just let it be? Don't you know John Lennon? He said, let it be. And guess what? He got shot, so maybe he's not the best example. But the point is, you can be free from this burden. You can be free from this rock. These rocks. And life can go even better than you imagined. But are you willing to pay the price? You see, here's the thing. Things are only heavy when you pick them up. When you don't pick them up, hey, not heavy. Same thing with life, same thing with our thoughts. Things weigh us down because we think about them and they are deeply meaningful to us. Meaning, let's say you want to get a new job or something, or you're living in a poopy situation. When you start to think, oh, well, I gotta figure this out, I gotta do something. Something's gotta go down. And if I don't do something, then I'm gonna be stuck here forever. Well, the moment you get caught in that psychological drama, well, now it's weighing on you, and now it sucks. That is where suffering arises. But imagine if you just kind of went, oh, everything is working out perfectly. It doesn't matter what is happening in the world. I'm just going to relax. And you see, most of the time, if not every time, things magically work themselves out. I'll give you a great example. One of my buddies, when he was struggling, when he was broke, scrounging through the couches with no cash, only pennies, trying to buy some cigarettes. Well, for him, it really sucked. He was really down bad. He probably stayed that way for years, until eventually getting out of it somehow. But when I was broke and trying to find pennies, sometimes I would get frustrated. How could you not? But there was always in my mind that, oh, it's going to work out somehow. And I've always been that kind of human being. It's all going to work out. No worries. Hakuna Matata. It's all good. All good. What is there to worry about? And every single time, like on cue, things would magically work out without me even needing to do anything. So, I went through the same situation as many people do. Starving. Well, wasn't that starving? Sometimes I didn't know what I was going to eat. But a lot of people know what it's like to not have money. But not everybody responds in the same way. Because I realized, well, I don't have to figure it out. It's not my job to figure it out. And because I stopped getting in my own way, life could take care of me effortlessly. Because life, God, is already taking care of you. Every single need, every single thing you could ever desire or need that's also good for you, it's already yours. By default. You don't got to do anything to get it. It's already yours. But we are perpetually shooting ourselves in the foot, sabotaging our blessings by getting in the way. What does it mean to get in the way? It means taking responsibility for everything. I have to be the one to do this. I have to figure it out. I have to, solve all these problems. And this is kind of the, secret to life. This drama that we're all playing. Our own little lives and our own little, stories. That's the whole fun of it. That's what the game of life is for. It's to get caught in this drama and enjoy it. Enjoy getting stressed out. Enjoy solving problems. Enjoy having the world be placed upon us. Because if I were to tell you the true nature of things, well, then there would be no game, really. Think about it. If I told you that everything was already okay, everything was already taken care of, you didn't have to do anything. Perfection is the default state. Peace, love, joy, abundance, all the default state. You didn't have to do anything to get it. You're already in heaven. You're only dreaming that you're not. If you just realized this right off the bat, well, then you would just be kind of floating in heaven all the time. And there would be no contrast to life. You have to forget so that you can remember. You have to get lost so you can be found. As it is said, sometimes the way to heaven is through hell. Most often it is. Life is a game of contrast, polarities. That's what gives life meaning. But, have you had enough suffering? Are you tired of trying to figure it all out on your own? Well, congratulations. If you're still watching this, well, then maybe you have a chance. The lights. Where were we? You see, if you haven't noticed, the whole universe, the cosmos, it's one divine intelligence evolving itself through an infinite array of different forms. It's just life. Everything is life. Everything is existence. But guess what? We identify with the separate forms. And separation is an illusion. We all one. I promise you that. That is why Christ said, well, that of which you do to the least of thee, you do to me. Because we all one. There is no separation. And this is where the root of the problem lies. In the fact that we are all living in an illusion. Have you not watched The Matrix? That was the whole point. I wonder how many people have watched The Matrix and thought, wow, not realizing that it was about them. And I promise you, 99.99% of all human beings who have ever lived have been trapped. So if you're questioning, I wonder if I'm trapped. Yes, the answer is yes. Because so few people become aware to the true nature of reality, well, that, we assume the illusion is the real world. And why would we question anything else? If everybody else is believing in the same thing, well, then it must be true. But it is not. Think about in the story of Adam and Eve in the Bible. In the beginning, they were at one with God. It was paradise. They had no troubles, no problems. But then what happened? They ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Duality. Separation. They went from oneness to two-ness. And then guess what? A whole lot of problems. Yeah, what are you going to do? Such is life. Toil the earth, give birth, die. Yeah, that's about it. That was original sin. It's ignorance. Believing that there is such a thing as separation. And, well, if you think about it, it's like the same thing that happens with flat earth people. When you go outside and you look, what's going on here? Is the earth flat or is it a globe? Well, it doesn't look like a globe. It looks like a dome. It looks like there's, there's a circle thing, some glass, and it looks pretty flat to me. Must be flat. So too, when we wake up and look around and look at the objects in our room and you look at me, stop looking at me. I can hide my goodies. We've got a peeker. Well, everything appears to be separate. You don't look at Wise Duck and say, oh, well, I am one with that duck. You wouldn't say that. You would say, oh, that's a red duck for bathtubs. Yeah. Made in China. Do you like China? I didn't think so. But you are one with China. Did you not know this? If you really snap out of the hypnotic complacency that we're all living in, you will actually begin to see, oh, wait a minute. Everything really is kind of just made out of the same molecules, huh? It's all just atoms and hydrogen and helium and other elements of the periodic table. It's all just stuff. What is this? What is this? What is going on? What is my reality? Is everything just a simulation? Now we're getting to the good stuff. Because here's what happens. If you live in separation, there is life, the whole cosmos, and then there is you. So oftentimes we live as a separate entity, in a hostile environment. So you're always looking around for threats, dangers, problems. I have to prepare for the future. And that is what God said to Adam and Eve. You will suffer because of your mistakes. Because in separation, once we have a sense of individual self, we are now aware of our mortality. And once we're aware of our mortality, we begin predicting future possible threats. Now we have to prepare for the future, for death, for the winter, if we wish to survive. So there's you as a separate individual, and then there's life. And guess what? Life just, washes the individual away with no effort. Even if you were the baddest monkey on the planet and you lived to be 10,000 years old, life would still wash you away as if you were nothing. Because that is what we are. We are nothing. Because the separate forms are illusions. You see? But what happens is that once you claim, oh, well, I am nothing. I am nobody. I don't need to worry about anything anymore. You become one with life. You become free from separation. And you return to unity. You return to paradise, the default state. And once you become one with life, you enter into harmony, in which the problems in your life, your struggles, it's not that they go away completely. Because to completely remove separation would mean, well, that you become God. Not an easy thing to do. But you enter more and more into harmony, and life begins working out perfectly without you needing to do all that much. In fact, the less of you, the better. Because the ego, the separate self, really just gets in the way all the time. Creating problems, making a mess of things. And well, until you get tired of it, it's gonna continue to run your life. I like the quote, the less of you, the more there is of God. And the more there is of you, the less there is of God. The deeper you are into separation, the more separate you become from God. The more you're separated from peace, love, joy, abundance. The closer you grow to hell. This is why you see serial killers and bad people. They are those who are most identified with their separateness. They are the ones that are most deeply in illusion. So you have two forces. You have the forces of darkness and you have the forces of the light. The forces of darkness are like parasites. They're like black holes. What does a black hole do? It consumes, it eats things. Think about a reptile. What does it do? The only thing it does in its life is eat other things. I'm hungry. I eat. Grasshopper. Me, 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 me. The more me, the less we. That is why, Christ preached the message of selflessness. Because the more self we have, the more we suffer. We take advantage of others for our own gain. And that leads us to hell. Not good. So when you get rid of the sense of self, when you get rid of the meanness, you return to paradise. And enjoy the freedom of not having this big bag of rocks on your shoulders anymore. Relief, peace, joy, abundance. You don't have to strive and struggle so hard. You don't gotta figure it all out. You don't gotta deal with all of your problems. Everything is already taken care of. Imagine that. People spend their whole lives grinding. Have you been grinding lately? Well, it's time to stop grinding. Because why are you doing it? Because we grind out of fear. Out of fear of losing control of our lives. If we don't do something about this, things are going to fall apart and then I'm going to suffer. And I don't want to suffer. I'm going to be on the streets and then I'm going to have to poop in buckets. Then I'm going to have to start doing some crack. Not necessary. If you could just relax enough to surrender to the present moment and just say, I'm not going to worry about it. Things are going to be okay. Wow. And every time you find yourself, worrying again, you just remember, relax. Everything's going to be okay. And your survival mechanisms are going to keep shouting off these alarms, saying, you got to do something, we can't be doing this. We can't just allow things to be as they are. You can't just go with the flow, man or woman or both. Something must be done. You must grind. If you do not grind, you will be grounded. You do not want to become ground beef. Would you like to be beef? And here's the thing, you could just try it out. You don't even have to believe what I say. And what's going to happen is that, you'll try to relax. And if you've been programmed to worry all the time and to be in anxiety, it's going to, try and pull you back down. And you have the choice. Do I want to keep living like that? Or do you want to be free? Do you want to experience relief and the good stuff? Do you want to live in a reality in which you are struggling all the time? Doesn't mean you can't work hard and do stuff. It means that you do the stuff you love to do. You do what you want to do, not what you think you have to do. Because if you live your life doing what you think you have to do, you will be living like a slave forever. And it's not necessary. We do that to ourselves. You don't have to be a slave. You are not a slave. You are already free. But the only prison in existence is the one in your own mind. And that prison is made up of thoughts. And you are the prisoner and the jailer. And you can be free anytime you wish. And if you struggle with negative thoughts and overthinking and rumination and fear and worry, you can join Monster Mind Mastery. Link is below. I am Ray. Much peace and many blessings. And remember, just be.